Welcome to Balanced Life, Happy Life, where we offer solutions to the health challenges most people experience on a regular basis. We welcome you to discover our simple and vibrant way to live a more balanced and happy life. Every Tuesday, we have an appointment, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the topic of today is air. We want to emphasize, along with that, the importance of prevention that can help us not only take care of our bodies, our health, but in the financial aspect too. And prevention is better than cure, of course. So today we will show you what can we do about this. And through these 5 vital elements, we can target prevention: air, water, sleep, nutrition, and natural energies. Niken is continually adding new products and technology to the Wellness Home. Be part of this important movement and start your Niken Wellness Home if you haven't done it yet. And today we will feature air. Sometimes all you need is a little fresh and clean air. And for this gathering, please welcome Dr. Liliana Warner.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. All right, so we're going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Great, and let's just make that nice and big for everyone. Yes. There we go. All right. So we're really going to just dive in here. As we said, this is the Balanced Life, Happy Life gathering. And today we're focused on air. My name is Dr. Liliana Warner, and I'm a chiropractor practicing out of Decatur, Georgia, which is just outside of Atlanta. And I've been in practice a little over 16 years, almost 17, I guess, at this point. And we've been using Niken products for at least 15 of those years. I really recommend these products for my patients. And though I've gone in and out of other product lines and making them available to my patients, this is one that has never changed, because Niken is awesome in their integrity as a business, their integrity to the planet, their integrity to really what they speak to, and just what they bring to us as humans, as humanity. And so I love being part of this talk and getting to share with you all why one aspect of our wellness home is so important. So with that, we're going to dive in. As Ruben said, we look at these 5 different aspects: air, water, sleep, nutrition, and natural energies. Now, with the different sections, most of what we're looking at with Niken is preventative, though obviously any of you that have used any of these products know they also work in a pinch to help us thrive and really maximize our health, right? So we use many of our products to help handle stuff that's going on in the moment for people. But where I really think Niken stands out is in its ability to balance our environments, both internal and external. So this is why air becomes such an important factor when we're discussing this topic. So what is a Niken Wellness Home? Pardon me 1 moment. I have to get my little screen out of the way here. Okay, so what is a Niken Wellness Home? So Niken Wellness Home transforms your living spaces into a safe haven, a place that not only supports better health and energy, but promotes balance and well-being. I once heard someone say that a wellness home, a Niken Wellness Home, is like a greenhouse for humans. And I just love that so much, right? A greenhouse is where something living, plants typically, thrives, right? And that's what we want our homes to be. So we want our internal home, our body that, supports us as our being, but we also need the space around us to help us thrive, right? And so it's really, really as important to think about your wellness home as it is to think about what you're putting in your body. All right. So when we're talking about air, there are many issues, and we often have kind of a vague understanding that, air pollution matters and that, smog is bad and that sort of thing. But I just want to give you some statistics. And you could, look up any of these to get, more current ones if you like. But these are some that I thought are really speak volumes. So air pollution is the fourth highest risk factor for death globally, and by far the leading environmental risk factor for disease. And you can see the citation there. That's pretty important, right? And I know we talk a lot about air quality outside, but in a minute, we're going to talk about inside air quality as well. So this next quote, nationwide studies show that when a particulate matter in air pollution, so that's the stuff, the measurable stuff in the air, goes up, premature death goes up. A perfect example of this is in the pandemic. We saw that areas with high pollution levels actually got hit harder in the pandemic. And that's because of this fact. So this becomes really important. And if you think that your inside air isn't sharing with your outside air back and forth when you open doors and open windows and just walk in and out of your home or office, then you're kidding yourself, right? It's all it's all exchangeable all the time. And this makes that indoor level as important as anywhere else. So despite last one here, despite decades of environmental efforts, over 40% of Americans, more than 137 million people, live in cities and states with poor air quality. Now let's talk about this one for a minute. So this is already, a huge percentage and a lot of people affected in their direct area. But again, we actually know that even though we're highly affected by what's right in our area, we're also affected by what happens around the globe, right? We share air with the entire world. And in fact, with all of the chemical fires happening across the world, especially in the US right now, we're actually seeing a lot more increase in reactions due to air quality because of those toxic loads in the air. So in our office, we do lots of wellness type care. And one of the things we do is help our patients, our participants, look at their toxic load. And one of the things we're seeing right now, presumably due to these different toxic fires around the US and, that air moves through those air circulation cycles in the world, that we're actually seeing people show up with toxins that are probably from those toxic fires states away. So I think that's just kind of mind-blowing, right? Like we know we share air with the whole world, but we don't really think about it that way usually. So this becomes an even more important topic when we're talking about things like toxins in the air because of accidents or because of fires, things like that. So just take that into account as well, since that's kind of a current topic right now. So indoor air can actually be much more dangerous than outdoor air. So let's talk about this for a minute as well. The air within our homes and other buildings can be more seriously polluted than outdoor air, even the largest and most industrialized cities. So we'll talk more about why this is. And so 50% of all illness is aggravated by polluted indoor air. 50% of all illness. That's a lot. Pollutants can be 2 to 5 times higher inside than outdoors. So when we talk about the importance of outdoor air quality, are you doing anything to counter what's going on inside? Because it's even worse if you're not. So we spend nearly 90% of our time indoors, which is why we really need to be taking care of that indoor air. All right, so what are some ways that our indoor air can be affected, right? Can go from being a neutral state to housing, if you will, a lot of volatile things. So this is a great little pictograph here. So On the top left here, you see the construction and furniture materials, everything from lead and formaldehyde, adhesives, paint, etc. Top right, heating and air conditioning things. So things like pollen, mold spores, pet hair and dander, air pollution that gets in from outdoors, right? We open our windows for some fresh air and in comes all that outside stuff. Then you think of things like where you sleep, carpeting, clothing, bedding. So all of that collects stuff, right? Collects dust and fibers, odors. And then you clean those areas, which of course you need to do. But hopefully you use natural things because cleaning agents are toxic in and of themselves and leave behind residues that can create issues with the air as well. So that goes over to the household products. So things like solvents, insecticides, herbicides, disinfectants, cleansers, all of that. In the kitchen in particular, you can get fumes from food waste, from the cooking that you did. You don't even have to burn stuff to make a kitchen react, the air in the kitchen react. In fact, when I have my air purifier, near there or even in a room adjacent, if we're cooking and the heat's high and we're cooking for a long time, that will kick up and respond to that. Not in a, you did anything wrong with your cooking way, but just in a reactionary way because it's changing what's happening in the air, even if it smells delicious. And then, of course, if you have actual smoke, that's a different thing. That's definitely a red flag, and you want to clear the air as soon as possible for your health and safety. And then things like in the bathroom, right? So aerosols, sewer gas, mildew, chloroform from chlorinated water. So that's a big one. We educate our patients a lot at our office about chlorine and the benefits of having a water filtration system for your shower as much as for the water you drink, right? And so those are all ways that actually can affect the quality of the air inside. On this next one, we see a couple more of those listed. So what are some symptoms of that indoor air quality issue, right? So it can be things like headaches or eye irritation, fatigue, dry throat, sinus congestion, dizziness, nausea, all sorts of crazy symptoms that we might attribute to something else or feel like they're mysterious. And yet it really could be just what's going on in our home around us, the place that we should feel really safe and secure, right? Okay, so the EPA makes some really simple common sense steps to reduce indoor air pollution. So let's look at what those are. So the first is don't store chemicals, solvents, glues, or pesticides in your home, right? Wherever possible. And in the first place, maybe buy organic stuff or buy things that are less toxic so that that's not a risk in the first place, right? Minimize the risk of deadly carbon monoxide gas by properly maintaining and venting heating equipment, wood stoves, fireplaces, chimneys, vents, and by installing carbon monoxide alarms on all levels of your home. That's a super important one. Remove sources of air contaminants. So buy organic furniture, not treated with chemicals, and avoid harsh chemical air fresheners and cleaning products. Niken has lots of things to offer you there if you're interested. Don't idle your car, run fuel burning power equipment, or light a barbecue grill in your garage, basement, or anywhere confined near your home, right? So do that in a really open air area. And then obviously clean the air using air filters. And that is just essential in this day and age with what we know about indoor air health. Okay, so let's talk about what you look for in an air filtration device. So definitely a portable unit so that you can move it around. It should be light enough that you can easily carry it, right? Move it where you need it. Or make sure you have one in every room, right? So it needs to be high efficiency filtration, so less than 0.3 microns, so a HEPA filter, so that it can handle things like viruses and bacteria, carbon dust, fine combustion smoke. You want to get those really little itty bitty things, right? That's super duper important. A note on that, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so avoid air filters that deliberately produce ozone. sometimes called ozone generators or ionizers. That's actually toxic in and of itself and is banned in many countries and states. So you want to definitely avoid that. So make it cost effective. Obviously, you don't want to spend $1 million on something that isn't doing everything it needs to for you. So that's important. You want it to be really quiet. You don't want to think about the fact that your air filter is turned on, right? It just should just be something in the background. And then you want it to be really easy to operate and maintain. Okay, so luckily the Kenko air purifier fits the bill. It does all of those things that we just said. So let's talk more about those. So it's a multiple stage filtration that captures, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. And I get something else out the way here. Okay, multiple stage filtration captures up to 99.97% of 0.3 micron particles in the air. Okay, so this is really important because, again, this is how any air filter is able to, if it does that level of filtration, is able to catch things like that carbon smoke we said, and like the pathogenic things. And so something interesting is that, like my office, and I can just speak from my own experience here, but we were, as a doctor's office, open the entire pandemic and never had to close due to spread of anything in through our office, right? Which is just totally amazing. And I feel so blessed. And most of my friends, doctor friends, had to close offices at different points because of spread. And I honestly, I don't know this for sure, but I can't imagine that I'm doing anything different cleaning wise or anything else than they were doing, except I have these in every room. So that's just my own personal experience in the, what we just went through. But for me, that spoke volumes. So it's really important. And that's part of why we use these in doctors' offices, hospitals, etc., where we want HEPA filters, because we want to really capture those tiny particles. Okay. So the Kenko air purifier is patented to generate negative ions. And this honestly is one of my favorite things about this. So this gives you the feeling of being in nature. So like in a forest, by a waterfall, by the ocean. And that sensation you get when you're around negative ions, like a rushing waterfall or any of those others, is called forest bathing. And we know that that's really good for us mentally, emotionally, in many ways, physically. And so to think that your air purifier is not only cleansing the air, but actually adding something positive to it, to your experience of it being there, is really pretty amazing. And most systems, when I did my research, most systems I found, when they had negative ion capability, they also produced ozone, which is what you want to watch out for. So no ozone, yes, negative ions. All right, so it has a pre-filter that's reusable, so that helps with the cost effectiveness there. The outer filters are replaceable, and then the whole machine is made with recyclable materials. So you're also being eco-friendly on that regard. All right. There we go. It has a particle sensor, so it detects ambient pollution levels and operates automatically. So you can see on the machine there from the red to the blue, and it has the different little fans and then auto at the end. And basically what it will do is, if something, say you're cooking your delicious meal and it's cooking high heat and making a little smoke or something, and the machine will read that in the air and automatically kick up to what level it needs to keep the air healthy around you, despite the fact that that's going on, right? So it's gonna, if it's on auto, it's gonna automatically take care of that air contaminant in that moment without you having to think about it, right? So we just leave on auto most of the time. If there's something particular going on in our home, like we're doing construction or we're painting or something, then we'll just put it on full blast where we're doing that work temporarily. All right, so you can place it on manual operation when desired, and that would be an example. So the air quality display shows room air quality. So you'll literally see it go from blue, which is optimal, which is what you want it to be at, to purple to red when it's cleaning the air. And that tells you something around you needs to be handled. And thankfully, you have that to tell you that's happening because most things that pollute the air don't smell, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping that air clean, not just scent free, right? Those are two different things. Okay. So it's also Energy Star rated. So the Kenko air purifier is Energy Star qualified, 35% more efficient than most models. So this is really important. And this is what I was saying earlier, that Nikken is very aware of when they're creating their products, how to make them not just supportive for our health, but also for the earth. And so I really love this, all these little details here that you can see. All right. So to breathe is to live. The Kenko air purifier is clean air with a clean conscience. We breathe well and help sustain the environment all at once, which is lovely. It's easy to share, so you can share better health and share a commitment to reduce, reuse, and recycle by cleaning your air and having a machine that is made from recycled materials, right? And you're supporting Mother Nature in many areas, both by putting off those negative ions when you're using the machine to help rebalance our environment and to clean the air itself. So this is just a lovely, one of my favorite pictures of a Nikken Wellness home. And you can see that air purifier right there. And it really just fits beautifully. It's sleek in design. It's doing its job, humming away in the corner without you really noticing, which is just lovely. And before we wrap up, I just want to tell a story or two about my experience over the years with the purifier in our office. So I actually run a pregnancy and pediatric family practice. And so we have children running all over the place all the time. And one of the things that I really love is that what the science shows with the negative ions is that when we're having a hard time, like we're sick or we're angry or upset, like maybe a crying child, let's say, or I am a doctor's office. It is a doctor's office. So, people are there when they're not feeling 100%. And just being in that environment, the negative ions literally counteracts the positive ions that our bodies are putting off when they're under strife like that. So quite literally, it is helping us heal, not just cleaning the air, but helping our lungs heal and not have to do all that work that they're not meant to do that much work, believe me. And so not only are we protecting that precious lung tissue and not overtaxing it, but then we're also adding this benefit of negative ions, which is so calming and nurturing. So that's really one of my super favorite parts about it. And then again, lately with these different toxic fires, chemical fires around the US, we have been, and the world, actually, they're just mostly here. But we've actually been recommending that our patients run their filters on a higher setting, maybe, shut it in a room, blast that, rotate that around, really deep clean that home air so that you're not getting, or if you are getting any of that from the winds traveling around the earth, that's getting taken care of and you're not succumbing, if you will, to that environmental toxin, one that we obviously didn't plan for, but here it is, so we have to handle it. So I, for one, am really glad that I have these at home and at work. All right, so last thing is we always invite everyone to be a part of this global wellness community. So whether you're here just to learn from about our products for yourself or for your family or for your office, or you're looking actually to, as Ruben said, for some financial health as well, we really invite you to be part of our adventure. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Warner. A great presentation. Thank you again. And next Tuesday, we have Diamond Consultant, Sherry Densick, with a great topic, good quality sleep. So see you next Tuesday. Goodbye.